Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Well, it's almost noon. It's 11:42 here, but we'll round it up. A couple things I want to share with the people. Interesting day so far. You see the title of the video. I want to do an update on my journey with the carnivore diet. Something I've been experimenting with off and on as it relates to keto variances. This being a more extreme version of the carnivore diet. allow me to preface these statements by saying I'm the last person who should be talking about this stuff, but I am the person to be experimenting with it. And that's what I'm doing. Now, obviously, this morning was my PT test, so of course I risked my career. Uh, well, and I'll say this: I risked my career progression to experiment with something like this, but it was necessary. Necessary. Um, I've taken multiple PT tests on the carnivore on keto, and so this is nothing new as it relates to restricting carbs and attempting a PT test or just experimenting with performance, playing basketball after work or playing volleyball, the casual run around the block, doing a 5K or so, to see results there and then say, all right, we're going to translate it to a high pressurized, at least for me, as it relates to, see how many push-ups I can do in a minute under duress, how many sit-ups I can do, under duress, and then my run. Now, I don't have my numbers in front of me because in the moment I didn't care. I wanted to know I passed. That's all I cared about was, did I pass this doggone PT test? Post COVID, also I did it fasted, which again, I'm not sure where I stand on fasting before a PT test. All I know is that my results speak for themselves personally. So if I were to guesstimate, my last PT scores were 76, 77, something like that. Obviously way below where you would want them to be in terms of showing up to a test and are you comfortable or are you confident about this test? Yeah, my last score was like 76, 77. And I believe passing is 75. So clearly I was treading water already just with whatever diet I was on. I was probably on the bro diet back then. And again, my last test was before COVID. And so obviously with COVID taking place, it's been a year and some change since anyone has tested. And so not really having the pressure to go run and go stay in shape, eat the right things. Everyone panics right before the PT test. 2 weeks before the PT test, everybody's just kind of finding a track and everybody's running for no reason and, experimenting with diets and what have you. And of course, I fell into that boat as well. In the last 17 days, which again, today is day 17 for my carnivore diet. And for those who are missing context, I have videos on what the carnivore diet is, elementary level brief of what it is. Obviously, I'm no doctor, I'm no nutritionist, but I'm a student. And so, of course, I go in pursuit of truth. And of course, you have your personal anecdotes of, all right, this worked for me, it may not work for you. All that is kind of implied. So I will hope you would assume that already is that I'm not telling anyone to go do this. Why would you listen to me anyway? But the point being is that it's something to look at because it's a constant preaching of you need carbs to play sports. You need carbs to run. You need carbs to lift weights. And I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing as it relates to a professional athlete, as it relates to someone who needs to perform at a high level or perform explosive movements. But when it comes to a PT test, when it comes to endurance running, there's more than enough anecdotes available online now. And of course, I'm not telling you to take that as truth and just run with it just because somebody else did it, it worked for them. Then of course, I'm gonna go run with it too. But it's something to look at. It is something to look at. I am beyond curious as to why my entire life I've been told I need to eat rice, beans, kale, cabbage, all these random green plants that may or may not have anti-nutrients and toxins and, why? Because when you break them down, I'm like, all right, so that leaf is how many calories? That's 5 calories. Its makeup is mostly water, a couple vitamins available, a lot of anti-nutrients available as well. What's the point? Can I live off a plate of salad? It's an ongoing argument and debate and discussion on whether or not vegetables are necessary. I personally, I live on the fence in terms of I'm agnostic. I stay in neutral ground until I see evidence. And of course, today just added more evidence to my own personal views, mainly because I've tried it. Now, a couple of my stats, 6'2", 6'3". Obviously, we claim 6'3" just because it's available. 6'3", and then so I've lost 14 pounds in the last 17 days because of the carnivore diet. No, obviously I've been working out, but 14 pounds doesn't normally just come off just because you want it to. So there's that. So I started at 250. I took my test today at 236. So yeah, 6'2", 236 pounds. For me, that's way overweight. That's way overweight. It has nothing to do with muscle. I don't care about muscle composition and body fat. 230 it's. I'm not a professional athlete. I'm not a running back. Why do I weigh 230 pounds? So that's something that we're constantly working on as far as how do we correct this? How do we correct this permanently? It's one thing to go, I'm going to go take a ton of laxatives and I'm going to take a bunch of these fancy, thermogenic, fat burners and I'm going to take all these BCAAs. All right, cool. Those are supplements. They're meant to supplement a lifestyle, not a bad habit. And so that's something that I've been really, truly digging into as far as what is the foundational issue that I should be addressing in my own life. Since my initial losing about 100 pounds in 2014, it's been a yo-yo of back and forth of gaining weight, losing weight, eating for emotional reasons. I watched a video. I can't think of this doctor's name. Maybe if I'll pull it up. But he spoke to how we treat carbohydrates not as nutrition for our bodies, but as an addiction to our bodies. And you see it in our actions, how you don't turn to protein for comfort. No one turns to protein or fat unless the fat is accompanied with carbohydrates. And that tends to be the issue, is that when we consume carbohydrates for, emotional purposes, whatever reason we come up with to rationalize it, it's usually accompanied by fat. And again, I discussed in my last video that fat and carbs, they're both different macros for energy, but using them together, one of them has to be stored. Our body's not just going to use both sources of energy at the same time. You have the ketogenic lifestyle, which basically puts your body in a state of ketosis where you're burning fat for fuel. The analogy I constantly hear, it's a good one, is if you stored up all this wood for winter, but then when it got cold, you threw your couch in the fire. That does not make sense. And a lot of us are doing that, where we have all this stored up fat in our body, but then when we go to fuel ourselves for energy, we go to carbs. We have stored up energy in the form of fat. That's why it's stored. That's why whales have blubber, is to also warm them, but when they need energy, it's available. And so it's something that I've been looking at as far as just a holistic way of viewing things. What am I missing in terms of information? What am I missing in terms of nutritional information? I posted a video today about calories in, calories out, and why is it that we think that 30 calories of broccoli is the same as 30 calories of candy? It's not. And the difference is insulin. When we spike insulin, it's telling our body to store whatever we just ate. And so, stable blood sugar is something we all should be, pursuing. But yeah, so to get more straight to the point, the run is something I've always struggled with, whether I was 200 pounds or 230 pounds. The run has always been something that I've always taken issue with. I'm why do I need to run if I'm not about to die? What is about to kill me? And so the run today was as expected. The track seemed endless. I believe I was on lap 4 of 6, and I swore I came around on the 5th one. I was like, yeah, I only got 1 lap left. I'm making good time, bro. Because the praise break track I released today. Again, if you churchy, you already know what it is. But yeah, it's 12 minutes and 30 seconds long. So I knew when that was the different chapters of the track I made. I'm all right, so at this point, I'll be running for 6 minutes. Once it hits that bump, once it goes to that transition, it's at 12 minutes and 30 seconds. Once the song goes off, 12 minutes, 30 seconds, I got another minute to be done. And so with that, I was like, the thing cut off, and I was like, you got 2 laps left. I'm like, what? And I'm passing by the youngins. I'm like, bruh, how many laps I got left? They was like, you got 2. I'm like, that don't make no damn sense, bruh. So obviously, my motivation was just shot, and my energy just feel like it tanked in that moment. The song had just ended. So I'm like, I got a minute. Yeah. And I to this moment, I still don't know what I scored in terms of the time. But the point being is that my end score increased by 5%. Here's the part that I'm more focused on, because my sit-ups and my push-ups did not change at all. I normally hit 50 push-ups, and I'm talking about chest on the ground push-ups, and my sit-ups were quality. 50 each. That's what I aim for every single time, and that's what I get every time. It's way above average. It's normal. 50 each. On carbs, I hit 50. On keto and carnivore, I hit 50. So the run was going to show the difference in if there was any improvement whatsoever, it was going to be found in the run. So once I hit the 50 on the push-ups, all right, I'm in good shape. All right, carnivore, I see you. The keto came around, the sit-ups came around, knocked those out. Almost caught a cramp, but of course your boy was on the electrolytes. And I just fought through it. I'm like, it was right on my hip. I was like, a little cramp trying to get your boy. But I said, I ain't going. Let me knock these out. And then the run comes around. And I was still out of breath from the push-ups and the sit-ups because obviously you're just maxing out for a minute straight. You just giving your body whatever you got. Let go. So I'm still kind of out of breath. Walk to the bathroom, come back, and go straight to the track. I stretch just a little bit for my lower back just to make sure everything's starting off in the right place before it transitions to its weird posture. Anyway, and the first laps, as expected, I'm breathing easy, just taking deep breaths, whatever, pacing myself off the music. So every footstep's on the one. It's just smooth. Lap 2, lap 3. And again, all that's going smoothly, but it was the fact that the issue with not having carbs is that you're kind of peaked out at your, whatever your steady state is for cardio, which for me is just 160 beats per minute in terms of running. And obviously 230 pounds, that weight touches you. You feel that weight for every step. And so that was probably the biggest issue. But the fact that from the last score I had, which was, I know it was like 75, 76, something like that, 77 to 81 today, it's huge improvement for me. Obviously it's not where I want to end up. And I don't take pride in saying I got an 81 on anything. I'm like, you had a lot of points that you could have gotten. 19 points were left on the table, bro. You could have ate off that. But for me to see improvement, the good direction, we're going back in the right direction as far as, higher score. Obviously I still passed, as soon as I passed the finish line, I just crashed. I was I've had enough. It's too much, bro. But I was proud of myself. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of my mindset, after reviewing the tape, watching the film, and like, all right, that wasn't too bad. Still a lot of room for improvement. Post-COVID, there's really no excuses. And you can take it from me. Leadership is not really taking excuses as far as, all right, COVID and I wasn't working out or I couldn't work out or, running is something you can do pretty much anywhere. You go outside and run. You can run to the Pentagon. You can run. And then, of course, push-ups and sit-ups you can do right at home. So, I will admit, just running the track, your mind begins to race as you think you're about to fail this test. And I'm like, my blues are ready, my ribbons, I got to put those on, I gotta make sure that's right. All right, I got to go explain somehow. Do I tell all of the squadron that I failed, or do I just let them hear it organically? I'm like, I was preparing myself to fail this test. I'm like, all right, this is what right. You could have prepared more. You should have did this. How dare you try a new diet at the last second? Cool. Right, mine's racing. But to see an improvement, it tells me, first of all, I'm going the right direction. I'm losing weight. I feel better. Mental health is improving. It's not where I want it to be, but it's definitely improving. The flat line that I was normally accustomed to has definitely elevated. So yeah, I'm impressed with the results so far. And again, it's only day 17, so it's something that a little over 2 weeks we're still digging into. We're still doing research. We're still pumping the electrolytes. We'll make sure that our nutrition is still hitting on all cylinders as far as, the nutrients that we need. And again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a PA. I'm not a nurse. I'm just curious. I'm curious, and I like results. I enjoy getting good results. And of course, I'm used to competing on everything. Like, I want to be the best at everything. But sometimes, you got your weakness, and everyone has their weakness. And so this is mine. This is my cross to bear, excuse me. So it's something that I know I have to do my own research on. I can't just depend on mainstream media and mainstream medicine to say, oh no, calories in, calories out. Just count your macros, and if it fits your macros, you can eat it. You can eat 2,500 calories worth of Jolly Ranchers, or you can eat 2,500 calories worth of chicken breast, and both will affect you the same. That's not true. And so it took me digging in myself and really challenging everything I've ever heard about nutrition, challenging everything I've ever heard about, my personal eating habits and what have you, and saying, all right, carbs, I've been treating carbs like it's heroin. I've been treating carbs like a bad habit. I haven't been eating carbs for nutrition. And like, all right, it's pre or post workout, and let me spike my insulin so I can store all this in my glycogen and fill my muscles up and fill my liver up with carbs so I can use it for energy later. I don't approach pizza like that. Not only are you eating carbs and fats together, but no, I eat pizza when I'm down, when I'm tired, when it's Friday night, right? Like it's time to break bread. And so kind of really addressing all those root causes, all those foundational issues, and saying, all right, my mental health is not meant to be fixed with something made in a factory, such as carbs. No, no. So from a holistic standpoint, that's what we've been working on over here. And it's what I encourage you to do. I'm not telling you to go copy what I did. I enjoy documenting my life and trying things. Some things are not going to be done for you. Some things are not done already, and you have to be the first. Luckily, there's people that have gone before me. I'm reading a Carnivore Code by Dr. Paul Saladino. And he's, of course, dove straight into it and, written a book on it. And, of course, some people they see it as a money grab. It's a new trend. Let me try the latest trend on diet nutrition. We're going to try bone shaving to lose weight. And we're going to try ear removal and hair removal. And do we really need cheekbones, or can we just take those off too? Or those vestigial organs? What else don't we need? Let's take our tailbone off. We don't need the whole spine. Why am I so tall? I don't need my full height. Let me take a little, take some bones off right there. We got too many bones on our feet, so let's remove some of those. There will always be a new trend. But one thing I am passionate about is hearing people talk about what they perceive to be truth. And when you hear Dr. Kim Berry and Paul Saladino and Dr. Kevin Stock, and who's a dentist, and Georgia E, who's a psychiatrist, and these people are passionate about the topic, and it's not only because they think they're right, but it's because they've been fooled for so long, so they perceive. Like they thought they were learning the truth in medical school, but they come out and realize, yeah, none of that's true. Yeah, everything so medicine is the only way to lower my insulin. Metformin is that's the only way I can fix my insulin issues. My insulin sensitivity, that's the only way to address it is medication. A stent, lower my blood pressure with Medicaid, that's the only way to fix my health. As I age, that's the only way to prevent bone loss is what? When it could be as simple as eating enough protein, eating enough vitamins found in animal meat. And of course, the vegan community, they will have their arguments as far as what's ethical, what's unethical. But of course, you don't hear too many arguments about why animals are eating other animals. There's a whole argument to be made, and I fully agree with the fact that no animal should suffer while dying. But again, we have animals in the wild that eat animals alive, and we don't go out there and try to stop them. Why is that boa constrictor killing that deer slowly over the course of 3 minutes by suffocating it? Why is that crocodile eating that deer as it crosses the Nile River alive? Just eating it. Like, it didn't give a chance to die. You just start eating it. You start noticing there's a lot of inconsistencies. Do the ethical vegans kill mosquitoes? Because all these concepts of speciesism of all animals should be treated the same. Cool. Define animal, because now we're going to start bringing up the flies that you swat and the mosquitoes that you swat. And why don't you treat all the animals the same? Do you hug the mosquito like you hug the puppy? Why is there a difference there? So again, inconsistencies everywhere. Again, you can go to the carnivore community and do the same thing and say, all right, well, this is in the keto community, and go and just start diving through everybody's community and critiquing them everywhere. I'm not interested in that, personally. I care about truth. I care about results. I care about feeling well. I care about mental health, as far as I don't want to wake up every day and have to take a pill to fix this up here. I want this to function the way it's designed to be functioned, and by feeding it the proper fuel. And so that means I have to try a diet that everyone else said, no, that you don't eat red meat because red meat's not good for you. Well, I'm going to question that, at least by trying it. I'm not trying everything. I'm not trying, you think heroin's bad? Well, I got to try that for myself. No, within reason, using wisdom, question things. I'm not saying be a cynic. I'm saying be agnostic. Wait for the evidence to come. And if there's no evidence, go in search of the evidence. Don't wait for it to come for you or come to you. Go in search of it. Send for it. So that's where I'm at. It's been an interesting journey so far. 17 days. Headed to Florida in the morning. I am beyond excited. Taking some leave. Again, mental health is something that I'm really pouring a lot of energy into with the help of my leadership. And again, there's so much talk of toxic leadership, but again, there's a lot of us who are getting great help. And again, shout out to those who are suffering under what they perceive or what actually might be bad leadership. But in the cases of my own, where I'm actually getting help and people are attempting to be there and to assist where they can. It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling to feel supported. It's not normal. It's not normal to have someone care, because again, kindness is water flowing uphill. So I don't take it lightly when you have good leadership. And of course, it starts with you. Accountability. Sometimes you got to ask for the help. And again, that's what I've been really putting a lot of energy into, is addressing my life holistically and not just putting band-aids on a lot of things. Just, all right, well, I got the alcohol in the corner. Let me go snatch that up and see if that helps. Let me order some DoorDash, order some junk food from Sonic and see if that helps. And let me go take a long extended nap, more than 8 hours. Let me see if that helps. Like, obviously you need rest, but there's a difference between rest and oversleeping or sleeping in. And so, yeah, that's where my life is at in a lot of ways, is what's broken. And this is what I always tell people before they join the Air Force. Like, all it's going to do is add more to your plate. Like, and it's something I've been addressing as far as leaving the military. Like, am I running from something? Am I running from anything that I will have to address later? Because right now I have a lot of benefits and a lot of resources available to me. Leaving the military doesn't solve those. It just means I have less resources or different resources. And so it's imperative that we address our issues from the root cause. And it may take some time. You might not be able to rush right through it and have it done in a single day. It might take some months to really dive deep into what is causing these issues in my life. So yeah, I'm going to Florida tomorrow morning. You guys already seen them previous vlogs. I've been there so many times. But yeah, shout out to my friends out there for showing love and helping your boy up. You never know the value of a friend until you experience one. And it's a weird feeling because it requires humility. Asking for help, to be a friend also requires humility. And so it's something that I'm really putting energy into it in terms of just asking for help. You have so many people that are just going to complain about, they need support, they want support, they want help, and they won't ask for it. They feel entitled to it. I'm like, that's not how you get help. Entitlement will kill any results that you're looking for. Sometimes it's as simple as humbling yourself and asking for help and saying, I need help in this area. I can't do it by myself. I've tried this. I've used all my resources. I try to maximize what I currently have. And then when people see effort and they say, all right, this person is at least trying with what they have, people are more than happy to extend a helping hand. So that's my little rant. Carnivore diet's interesting. Of course, I'll keep you updated as I keep going. I have no plans of stopping anytime soon. I have zero plans of stopping anytime soon. So we'll see how that goes. I'm aiming for like the 3-month mark just to see. And honestly, I'll probably keep going. Just depend. I haven't hit any walls in terms of, all right, I'm struggling with this. This hasn't helped. This is not working. I tend to be flowing quite smoothly. I'm waiting for some things to break in my mental health just to see if there's another level, another gear I'm able to kick into mentally. But so far, it seems like my body's responding well. You will experience things called like the keto flu and headaches. All it is it's feedback from your body. Your body's transitioning from eating carbs and running its body off glucose, which your body still creates glucose through the form of glyconeogenesis, which is basically a process converting protein and I believe fats into carbs, and not even carbs, into glucose, which is a sugar molecule. So you hear stories of like your brain needs glucose to run. Well, you don't need exogenous glucose. Your body creates it. It's kind of like creatine. Your body creates creatine. Some people supplement with more of it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, if your body makes it already, you don't need to add in more. It's like if you have your own blood, your body makes blood. I'm not saying you should be getting rid of it at high amounts and high rates and high volumes, but it creates it. Your body creates what it needs. It heals itself, but it needs the right tools to do so. So, yeah, it's again, this is something you should go discover for yourself. Something to go read into, buy a couple books, watch 1,000 lectures on it. Low Carb Down Under is a great resource as far as the YouTube channel is concerned. Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Paul Saladino, Georgia Eid, it's just a few names that kind of put me over the edge as far as, all right, this is something, I was dabbling in keto, cool. Thomas DeLauer, Dr. Eric Berg. Again, notice I'm saying doctors. These aren't just average Joes like myself who are just, hey, let's try it. Let's try that over there. Like, let's try running our bodies off of bleach. We're not just making up stuff. These are people who are doing research, who are medical doctors, but are actually going against the grain in their own career fields to figure out, all right, we've been lied to, or maybe it's not a lie, maybe it's just pure ignorance. But these people who are actually going in pursuit of truth in their own career field they do have something to lose. Their medical practice, like their ability to practice law, practice medicine, is at risk for every day that they pursue something that goes against the mainstream. They're literally swimming upstream in their own career fields to put out this truth that they perceive to be true. So, it's interesting. It's interesting. It's something I'm studying on my own. Go study it for yourself. Go study for yourself. Ask questions. They do plenty of Q&As and live Q&As, and most of them are very responsive. Go in pursuit of it. There's another channel I sent to my sisters this morning, and I'll share it real quick for the women who are interested. It's a YouTube channel ran by a woman, but she does mostly women interviews as it relates to cycles, as it relates to pregnancy, as it relates to breastfeeding. Very interesting perspective. Obviously, I go in search of a lot of men's content and like, all right, how does this affect the man and testosterone and muscle growth and weight loss and fat loss, all these things. But from a woman's perspective, this is a great resource for women. Let me find this real quick and let y'all go. All right, so the name of the YouTube channel is Caitlin Weeks. Caitlin Weeks. CAITLIN WEEKS. Caitlin Weeks. And of course, I study everything, so I go there and watch her interviews, and it's always interesting to get different perspective from across the river of how this affected me when I was pregnant, how this affected me post partum, and did the depression come, or how was I able to handle that, and weight loss after, or weight gain during, or all these different variables that a lot of men don't really know about or don't care to research. I'm always curious about those things, but of course, women tend to be slightly different because they are different, they're unique as it relates to men. And so it's a different resource that if those of you who are curious, can look into it. But again, that's just my opinion. I'm not here to preach to anyone. This is just me documenting. PD test complete, 5-6% improvement from the last one. Could be a random, occurrence. Could be lightning in a bottle. Who knows? Time will tell, because I gotta take the PD test again in 6 months. So we'll see when that happens. But again, I'm encouraged, and we'll see how this progresses. Day 17. We'll see how it goes. See you in the chat. Zavala, I see you, Red. Morpheus, I'm not sure who Clarence Kennedy is. And again, I have nothing against vegans. I do not have anything against vegans. I care about truth. You feel me? Like, what is the answer? What is the correct answer for the average human who wants to not weigh 300 pounds and struggle with walking upstairs and have pain in their joints and heart disease and diabetes and insulin issues? And what is the answer that doesn't involve me going to some pharmaceutical company to help them reach their bottom line, to help them be profitable this quarter? What is the answer for the human being that doesn't require electricity? Because again, humans are not like this new creation. Like, we've been here for a minute now. So are you telling that we don't know what to eat? Like, if you ask somebody what is healthy, and we get 10 different answers, I'm like, well, I thought eating all candy if it missed your macros because I have a 6-pack that makes me healthy. I'm like, no. So, and then again, there's plenty of cases, like you mentioned, he's a weightlifter. And that's the interesting thing is, like, well, when I start researching the carnivore properly, I start looking into long distance runners, sprinters, marathon runners, what's it called? The triathlon competitors, just regular athletes. I'm trying to figure out the people that are at the extremes of body movements, the Olympic athletes, the weightlifters, the power lifters, the strongman lifters. What is the common line in between all of them? And it appears to be, one thing I love doing is going straight to nature. It's like, all right, let's bypass the human that can't figure things out. Because the humans will just make things complicated. And all right, so let's just debate the vegan diet versus a carnivore, and why I eat raw vegan, but my gas is on 10. You eat carnivore and you go to bathroom every morning. You don't have any constipation. All right. There's a constant debate going back and forth. And again, I'm not here to convince anybody. Anyway, I document my life. I document my discoveries. But it's always interesting to find people that are saying, all right, I'm vegan and I dominate in this area. I run marathons and I'm the best at it. And I said, all right, that works. Interesting. And I go study that. And then I find a carnivore that runs marathons. They dominate when they run. I'm like, All right, so both of them work more or less. Which one is ideal? Which one has the least amount of side effects? Which one's natural? Which one's easily occurring in nature? Which one is easily occurring in humans? Which one's, I don't really care about expense too much, but it shouldn't be that expensive to eat what normally should be eaten. Because in nature, you don't see overweight lions, but you do see overweight elephant. And again, to call elephant overweight is kind of ignorant because that's the weight that they are. Like that's their size. So it's interesting. Who else we got? What's up, Corey Lace? I see you. Morpheus says carnivore diet is mostly a protein diet, though keto is mostly fat. I agree. Of course, you should be eating fatty meats, which is kind of the whole point. Most people, when they go to a low carb diet, they lower the fats and the carbs. So they're just eating high protein, which again, that will work great for bodybuilding. But when it comes to, and even bodybuilding, like when I used to follow Christian Guzman, and the advice he would give, I'm like, that don't work for me, bruh. Like you're naturally skinny. Like, so you're telling me to eat 400 grams of carbs? No, I swell up eating 400 grams of carbs. Like there's no way in the world I can eat 400 grams of carbs and lose weight. It does not happen. My body just gains weight easily. And so it's just kind of noticing those things. All right, maybe that advice works for someone else or a different demographic, but it doesn't work for me. So I need to find something else. And I went vegan for 40 days and I lost all my muscle. I'm like, all right, this don't work, bruh. Like it don't work. Like I lost my sex drive, like my hormones were off, and I thought it was due to soy. And I'm like, I did some research, and they said that soy wasn't the cause. I'm like, all right, what is wrong with my body, bro? Because it shouldn't be this simple. Like, why am I gaining weight? Obviously, I had to deal with the emotional issues of like, all right, stop eating 10,000 chips and cookies and donuts, bro. Maybe that's causing something. All right, well, let's dissect what a donut is if it's so bad. Well, it has a barcode on it. It's made in somebody's factory, in somebody's kitchen. It's not naturally occurring. You were eating 100 years ago. Stop eating donuts. Got you. Done. Pizza. Stop eating pizza. Combining carbs and fats and pepperoni and cheese and extra cheese and stuffed crust. And all right, stop eating all that stuff. So it's just, as I play the tape back from history, I'm like, all right, a lot of things that I was doing that, all right, these things are clearly wrong. Like I always make the statement, like you don't know what to eat, but you know what not to eat. Some of the things, pretty much my rule of thumb is like, if it tastes good, you shouldn't be eating it. It's just, if it tastes too good, stop it. Go get something else. So that's where I kind of start on I kind of veered into keto. I start removing carbs, and I was like, all right, so if carbs are the issue, then I got to replace it with something because I still need an energy macro. It has to be fats. And we've been told so long that fats make you fat. I'm like, no. Fat is stored in our bodies for when we need it. That's why you get the terms like intermittent fasting. Right now, I'm fasted. I did my PT test this morning, fasted. I have not eaten anything since last night. I fasted yesterday before I had my one meal yesterday, and I wasn't hungry. I'm not hungry now because I've stored fat. And your body you wake up in the gear of ketosis where your body's already running its body off of fat fuel. It's called ketosis. And your body kind of prefers it. Your mind's more clear. Like, again, you don't need to be stuffing your face. The second you wake up, I got to have a granola bar. I got to have almonds. I got to have oatmeal, overnight oats. I got to have a protein shake, 2 protein shakes. I got to go take a creatine pill. I got to take all these There's no way we were living like this 20 years ago. And I'm sure there were people ripped back in the day. But it was probably for different reasons. It's probably because they were eating the right things. And they probably were eating all day long. They were probably eating when food was available. And the rest of the time they were working or hunting or gathering or building, but I'm sure they weren't, eating 6 meals every 2 hours. I don't think they had what's it called, plastic bowls back in the day. Like, all right, let me have my multivitamin in the morning. I'm gonna have a diet tea, and I'm gonna chase that with a chocolate brew coffee with cinnamon. Like, no, they weren't doing all that. They were probably just eating meat, and that's probably they were probably just eating meat, and just keeping it simple, honestly. So. That's my thought process. But yeah, keto would be higher fat with around 50 grams of carbs, give or take, 20 grams of carbs, whatever. Carnivore being 0 carbs. I've had 0 intentional carbs in 17 days. 0. Sama says, I'm on keto and some fruits. And again, this is the good thing, is that you don't have to pick one thing. Keto and some fruits sounds way more natural than eating all fruits. Or eating all potato chips or all onion rings or all bread. It sounds way more natural to say, all right, we eat meat and we eat fruits when we can find it. That sounds way more naturally occurring. So, and again, everybody's body reacts somewhat differently, but not too differently because we're all humans. So it's something to look at. So I am carnivore right now. I've dabbled in keto. I've dabbled in Atkins, paleo, vegan. I've never been a what's it called, the pescatarian. I've been vegetarian. I don't like fish. Fish is just it's too much. It tastes oily, and it's probably what I need. I probably just need oils in my diet, the good oils. But yeah, I've never been a huge fan of fish. But yeah, I am carnivore currently. It's day 17. Kendra Kirksley asks, how long do you plan to not eat carbs? Do you have a plan for when you start eating carbs again? I plan to eat carbs the day that I cannot go another day without eating carbs. And I don't know when that day will be. I plan, when I go to Florida in the morning, I plan on anticipating the struggle of, yo, we're going to this restaurant, we're going to break bread. And I just like, all right, just give me the steak. One thing I love about carnivore is that I don't get those cravings, especially because I don't have it available in my house. Like you look at my fridge and my freezer, it's steak, chicken, pork chops, bacon, eggs. That's it. And I usually eat 1 or 2 meals a day. Right now, I have not eaten since last night, and I'm fine. And this is after a PT test. I'm not hungry, and so I don't eat. And so someone call it intermittent fasting. That's what it is. But also on a carnivore and keto diet variants, you tend to eat when you're hungry and you eat until you're full. And you can't overeat on carnivore. You can't overeat on chicken breast and steak. Your body just won't let you. You're like literally, you're full, you're satiated, and you go on about your life. You go do something else. You're not thinking about, all right, food and when is my next meal, and I got to eat some rice, and I got to make sure the rice is jasmine rice. It's too much. Like, since when is our whole lives just gravitated and surrounded food? Like, food has turned into a hobby. Like, if you ask the average person, especially on like dating sites, you see like, what are your hobby? Try new restaurants. Like, and again, that's my own hobby. I love that. I still love that. It's like, most likely when I go to the next question is we're in Florida, Orlando area basically, but there's a steakhouse in Orlando, Charlie's. Their bread is on 10. Oh my goodness. If we go to Charlie's, I'm breaking bread on some bread. You hear me? That bread is on 10. I thought Red Lobster was on 10. I'm like, nah. I thought Hawaiian buns was on. Charlie's bread will have you in tears. But anyway, yeah, I don't plan on going back to carbs unless my body just like, all right, you cannot function. We will not let you function. You can't walk another step. You can't get another night of sleep. You must go back to carbs of some sort. And then that's the day that I'll start slowly bringing carbs back in, such as fruits, vegetables. I'll start there, probably in there. But as of today, on day 17, I have zero desire for carbs. Like, again, if you put pizza right in front of me, I would struggle to just smell it and look at it. I'm like, all right, bro, get it out. Come on, bro, take it away, bro. But no, as long as I have control of my environment, and for the most part, I do, because I can still say no. Yeah, I don't see myself needing carbs because I still get fuel, like in the form of fat. So, do you have a plan for when you start eating carbs again? Not really. So one of the easiest things for me to do is to do absolute things. So it's either all or nothing. I struggle with moderation. And it seems like this diet is just easier because it's not based in moderation. It's based in truth. It's based in, all right, you should not be eating that, so don't eat it. It's like an alcoholic trying to moderately take shots. It does not work that way. You don't take shots. You just say no. So there's not an alcoholic playbook or manual that says only 1 shot a day and then you're okay. That's enough. You need some heroin? Just take a little bit and then you're done. So it seems like in most cases, when you're treating things such as emotional abuse of carbs, or like you're eating carbs for the wrong reasons, and like it's not for nutrition, it's because this tastes good, it makes me feel good, I get a dopamine effect. Maybe abstinence is the key to that. So, great question. Again, Florida, I'll be in Fort Pierce area, Orlando, Port St. Lucia. That's where all the retirees be at. If you ain't say nothing truthful, you just did. Pizza's fire. You understand? Safety recall my car. So that's how they get you. Morpheus says getting 200 grams of protein as vegans takes way more work. That's facts. That's facts. I mean, it's hard to argue that things don't have protein. Like a lot of things have protein, but when it comes to the amount of food, like I saw an Instagram post this morning from a lot of the fitness influencers I follow, and none of them are carnivore, but just seeing other people who are fit and they're eating high amounts of proteins, and of course in the corner they'll show you the macros, and I'm eating all this food, and it's like 25 grams of protein and 1,000 carbs. I'm like, how much sugar is in that, bro? Because again, people don't talk about sugar enough. Like maybe there's an argument to be made, and let me play devil's advocate. Maybe there's an argument to be made that certain carbs are good for you, like sweet potatoes, rice, potatoes. Maybe there's an argument for that to say, all right, we need these kind of carbs, not those carbs. The terminology would be complex carbs versus simple carbs, or complex sugars versus simple sugars. Maybe there's an argument for that. But again, people don't talk about how sugar is treated in the body. It goes straight to your liver. Sugar is not digested like the rest of like protein is. Sugar goes straight to your liver. It's treated like alcohol. It's treated like a poison. It's detoxified out of your body. So there's no good use of sugar. It's like there's no good use of heroin or cocaine. Like, no, there's not a moderate. I have a moderate amount of heroin in my bloodstream, and I'm like, no, bro. There's no argument you can make that convince me of that. Especially once you find out how sugar is metabolized in the body, it's discarded. There's no use for it. So glucose, don't confuse glucose with fructose. They're different. Fructose contains glucose, but fructose, no. It goes straight to your liver as well. So you know why it's going to liver? Because it's not useful. We're not using that. We need glucose. Your body creates that naturally. Fructose is discarded, just like alcohol and sugar. So it's something to keep in mind. And again, this stuff is just stuff I've studied in depth, and like just really going in search of like, all right, what's the answer? I'm not in medical school. I've never been in medical school. Like, but I want to know this stuff. Like, why is it a mystery? It should be a mystery how your body works. So it's something you should be discovering. R Blaze asks, have you tried surfing? First of all, shout out to R Blaze, $5 super chat, member of the channel. I appreciate you. Surfing will never happen. I will not be. Excuse me, goodness. I'm not going surfing on nobody's water, unless it's an artificial lake. You will not catch me surfing nowhere for no reason. I'll take that back. So of course I've seen on Instagram them making like artificial waves and what have you. I would try surfing in that context, but if you're referring to the ocean, nah. You ain't gonna have me volunteering to look like a seal going over the water fast and slow and falling in. I'm too busy for all that. You understand? I'm curious because the physics looks amazing. I always see videos of like dogs surfing with their owners. I'm like, how can a dog do it? I can't do it. But no, dogs don't have the same fear that humans have. And then apparently the humans don't have any fear because they just out there with the sharks. You got people going out there losing legs, come back from it, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go back. I'm like, you didn't learn anything, bro. Like you gonna let the shark take your leg and go back out there and keep messing around in the shark's kitchen? Like, it doesn't make sense. But it's definitely intriguing. The physics part of it's kind of like music. I love the mathematical part of music. Anyway, great question. Appreciate the super chat. What else we got? Morpheus says, a low-carb, high-fat, moderate protein diet can bring your body into a state of ketosis in which it burns fat for energy. If you are carnivore, you can't hit ketosis yet, bro. That's more than 100% false. More than 100% false. Not only can I verify that I'm in ketosis, like not only can I can wear a glucose monitor, I can also use the keto strips, but I have already. So I'm not sure what you're referring to. Yeah, that's wrong. Raymond, do you know anyone with diet therapy? I do not. I do not. I consider your diet to be therapy. Whatever you put in your body's going to react to it. Just like fuel in a car, your body reacts to whatever you put in there. As long as if it's gasoline and it's the right, whatever, the car responds by starting. You throw diesel in there or some water in there, your car is not going to start, and you're going to clearly figure out that's not meant to go in there. So I know this not answering your question directly, but yeah, diet. Oh, you're referring to the job diet therapy. No, I don't know anybody that to answer that question either. But no, I know I went on a tangent. Your diet is your therapy, and it's what I'm kind of learning in real time as far as how my body reacts, my mental health reacts to what I eat. It's improving every single day, so it's always a good sign, moving in the right direction. All right, I'm gonna let y'all go. I did not expect to be on here for an hour talking about no carnivore. Once again, the moral of the story, people. The moral of the story is to go research for yourself. One of the greatest things that will give you the illusion or the feelings associated with freedom is to go study something for yourself. There's no better feeling than to feel educated on a given topic. One thing I love doing personally is knowing about things that I should not know about. People see a 28-year-old black man in the Air Force and they question why I know about certain topics that don't exist in my own life. Terms like height dysmorphia or feminism or like all the gray areas that a lot of people live in every single day that it's never came on my radar. It's never came across my desk of, Isaiah, have you ever struggled with this? No. Well, why would I know about height dysmorphia if I'm 6'2"? It's not the point. The point is I want to know about it. Why do you know about feminism if you're a man? It's not the point. I want to know about it. I want to study things. I don't need to be a medical doctor to study diet and how it affects the body and how it affects the brain and the mind and all the integral processes that go on behind the scenes, the involuntary functions. I don't need to be a doctor or PA or a nurse to know about these things. It's what I feel is what every responsible adult should be knowing about is information. Not only because it's there, but because it's easily available. It's easily available. You can learn about different topics every single day. I have a bad habit of just going through YouTube channels and just subscribe, and just following like 1,000 channels in a day and just listening to what they're talking about. Just listening. One thing, the value that comes back to you is when you're in a weird environment or a new environment or you're in a networking environment or just in a new room with a lot of different people you don't know, and the ability to talk about anything comes in handy most of the time. Most of the time, you meet somebody brand new and they love golfing and you can just easily segue directly into talking about golf, and it's not difficult for either one of you. It's something you instantly connect on. Most friendships, most relationships, most networking opportunities, they start with having one thing in common. And so, yeah, before I go on that tangent, yeah, study for yourself. Study for yourself. You're going to have a lot of doctors on either side of the aisle who will tell you carnivore is bad. Their cholesterol's so high. I'm like, well, what if my insulin's not high? Is that still an issue? Because again, that's something you have to study. Like most people think just because your cholesterol is high, that's bad. No, there's good and bad cholesterol. And bad cholesterol is usually an issue. It's kind of like kindling. It's like the LDL measurements as it relates to having high insulin. Yeah, it's an issue. But if you don't have high insulin, there's no issue. So, and again, carnivore, you don't have high insulin because you're not constantly spiking your insulin with carbohydrates or fatless protein. Because again, even protein can spike your insulin, and even fat somewhat spikes your insulin, but not as high as eating pure sugar or whey protein, whey isolate. That's why people take protein shakes right after they work out, because it spikes their insulin and they're able to store the protein immediately. It goes straight into the bloodstream. So things like that the average person should not know about, but it's important that you go study for yourself. You don't need to go to school to learn this stuff. All the information is free. So all the information is available. Most people don't know because they didn't ask a question. And you don't ask questions unless you have a goal. My goal was to lose weight. I had all these answers. I'm like, all right, none of these are working because I've tried all of them. What am I missing? And so far, again, I've done carnivore a couple of times, but this is probably the longest I've been in it. Well, that's cap. That's cap. When I was in Alaska, I think I went 23 days. So obviously I plan on surpassing that greatly. I'm at 17 days now, and I plan on going a couple months doing this. So we'll see. But yeah, I just want to encourage y'all, go study for yourself. Study for yourself. It only helps you. That's the video. I appreciate y'all joining me. I know it's middle of the day, not normal time I go live. But yeah, I appreciate y'all hopping in. And yeah, y'all probably hear from me in Florida. We'll see. But y'all have a good